Never before in history have such effective means existed to manipulate a society into the psychosis of totalitarianism. Smartphones and social media, television and the internet, all in conjunction with algorithms that quickly censor the flow of unwanted information, allow those in power to easily assault the minds of the masses. What is more, the addictive nature of these technologies means that many people voluntarily subject themselves to the ruling elite's propaganda with a remarkable frequency. Modern technology, explains Mirlu, teaches man to take for granted the world he is looking at. He takes no time to retreat and reflect. Technology lures him on, dropping him into its wheels and movements. No rest, no meditation, no reflection, no conversation. The senses are continually overloaded with stimuli. Man doesn't learn to question his world anymore. The screen offers him answers, ready-made. But there is a further step the would-be totalitarian rulers can take to increase the chance of a totalitarian psychosis. And this is to isolate the victims and to disrupt normal social interactions. When alone and lacking normal interactions with friends, family, and co-workers, an individual becomes far more susceptible to delusions for several reasons. Firstly, they lose contact with the corrective force of the positive example, for not everyone is tricked by the machinations of the ruling elite, and the individuals who see through the propaganda can help free others from the menticidal assault. If, however, isolation is enforced, the power of these positive examples greatly diminishes. But another reason that isolation increases the efficacy of menticide is because, like many other species, human beings are more easily conditioned into new patterns of thought and behavior when isolated. Or as Mirlu explains with regards to the physiologist Ivan Pavlov's work on behavioral conditioning, Pavlov made another significant discovery. The conditioned reflex could be developed most easily in a quiet laboratory with a minimum of disturbing stimuli. Every trainer of animals knows this from his own experience. Isolation and the patient repetition of stimuli are required to tame wild animals. The totalitarians have followed this rule. They know that they can condition their political victims most quickly if they are kept in isolation. Alone, confused, and battered by waves of terror, a population under an attack of menticide descends into a hopeless and vulnerable state. The never-ending stream of propaganda turns minds once capable of rational thought into playhouses of irrational forces. And with chaos swirling around them and within them, the masses crave a return to a more ordered world. The would-be totalitarians can now take the decisive step. They can offer a way out and a return to order in a world that seems to be moving rapidly in the opposite direction. But all this comes at a price. The masses must give up their freedom and cede control of all aspects of life to the ruling elite.
This danger can be stated in the form of a simple equation, which I think might be the defining equation of life in the 21st century. B times C times D equals R, which means biological knowledge multiplied by computing power multiplied by data equals the ability to hack humans, R. If you know enough biology and you have enough computing power and data, you can hack my body and my brain and my life, and you can understand me better than I understand myself. You can know my personality type, my political views, my sexual preferences, my mental weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes. You know more about me than I know about myself. And you can do that not just to me, but to everyone. A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves can predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us. Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now
We
hackable
are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. Maybe the most important exchange in this respect will be in healthcare. The big battle over what we today call privacy will be between privacy and health. Do you give access to what is happening inside your body and brain in exchange for far better healthcare? And my guess is that health will win, hands down. People will give up their privacy in exchange for healthcare, and maybe in many places they won't have a choice. I mean, they won't even get insurance if they are unwilling to give access to what is happening.
We're a company that focuses on connecting people.
Of course we are. That's why we're trying to convince you to go from having human connection in your life to having the illusion of human connection in the metaverse. We literally don't care about people. Sometimes life can be challenging and uncomfortable. But the metaverse gives you the courage to avoid those challenging things by taking the easy way out. You become a much stronger source of profit for us by avoiding things that are hard. Did you know you are not one of society's elites? So why would you want to bother living your own garbage life when you can plug into the metaverse and be manipulated into believing that you're someone important? Talk about a high-class lifestyle. If elite billionaires that regularly get in trouble for putting profits ahead of people are offering you to live your life on their product, but they themselves just build the product rather than living their lives on it, then you know it's in your best interest to be on their product. Unless you're crazy. Who wants to work hard and go through the struggles of trying to have a good life when you could just easily have the life of your dreams without having to work for it? Kind of like how what's way more satisfying than earning a first place trophy is buying a first place trophy. If you spend all your time and energy building your life in the metaverse instead of the actual world you live in, then you'll be completely dependent on Facebook, and therefore you'll have the luxury of being controlled by us. And doesn't that seem both better and safer than being in control of your own life? It's like communism with technology.
But now we have a new North Star to help bring the metaverse to life.
And it'll be at the expense of your life. But don't worry, because unlike heroin, where you have to live with the consequences of a life-destroying addiction, in the metaverse, you'll be completely unaware of the life-destroying consequences of this addiction. Spending your money to build up your world in the metaverse, it's kind of like building a mansion on someone else's property. You might not own it, but at least you paid for it. Now, I know you can't wait to get on, but the metaverse isn't available quite yet. You'll need to stay tuned for updates as to when you can jump into the quicksand with us. Because once you're on, you won't need to build a happy, successful life when the metaverse lets you think you're building a happy, successful life.
Are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future not just of humanity, but the future of life itself. Because today, data is the most important asset in the world. And if too much of the data becomes concentrated in too few hands, humanity will split not into classes. It will split into...
Metaverse is basically Second Life, but taken to a whole new level. And you can see how it will be normalized. There's the obvious escapism element, but just like how the convenience of contactless payments has been used to encourage people to give up cash, convenience and ease of use have become a serious weakness for mankind, it seems. Corporations will encourage employees who work remotely to make use of the metaverse for business meetings, and because of the power of the technology, it will provide huge opportunities to visually conceptualize ideas in a way that was previously never possible in reality. Zoom calls will be replaced with VR metaverse briefings. Online retail will also be revolutionized, as now you don't have to go to the store to try on clothes anymore. You can just interact in a VR shopping mall and use your avatar to try on the clothes online before you have them delivered. Of course, if you accept such a virtual world as a replacement for reality, say goodbye to privacy forever. But aside from the virtual reality component of metaverse, the augmented reality component is perhaps even more sinister, because if something like this becomes commonplace, it effectively digitizes the real world around us and blurs the lines between reality and fantasy. In my opinion, it's like the internet is a kind of virus that is spreading its tentacles of control, influence and power into the physical world that we live in. But more accurately, what it's doing is altering humanity's perception of the real world to be basically indistinguishable from the online world. When you're walking down the street with your VR augmented glasses, you will be literally seeing things that aren't actually there and interacting with them. Just a few years ago, such an idea would be considered insane. It's as if humanity is attempting to normalize digital hallucinations. We're basically normalizing delusion. Clearly, our technological progress has gone too far at this point if the only thing it's now accomplishing is distracting us from reality, robbing our attention, and trying to give us coping mechanisms to deal with how atomizing, isolating, meaningless, and dystopian our world has become. Thankfully, the introduction videos of Meta and Metaverse released a few days ago have been received so badly that the likes and dislikes and comments were disabled on YouTube, because ultimately the technocrats are even more divorced from reality and humanity than anyone who would even consider the Metaverse to be a substitute for reality. This Metaverse idea will crash and burn eventually, even harder and in a more spectacular fashion than Google Glass did several years ago.
Kada i ovo danas postane neodrživo, a hoće sigurno, jer smo se u to uverili, hoćemo li tada iz metaversa evoluirati u Matrix, industriju kada će i živ čovek koji jede i diše postati neodrživ, te ćemo težiti ka uspavljivanju tela i crpljenju energije organizma u baterije? Postoji jasna razlika zašto je čovek čovek, a mrav mrav. Zapravo, hoće li se ikada desiti taj dan kada će ljudi stati i reći: hej, pa mi već imamo sve što nam treba na ovoj prelepoj zemlji?